Hello, everybody, and welcome to TV Skywriter. I'm Pat Murray, your host. I publish the Durham Skywriter, that's Durham, North Carolina's online community paper. And with TV Skywriter, I like to interview people from around the world, interesting people that I want you to know. So if you know someone who would like to be interviewed, just let me know. You can always find me on Facebook, Durham Skywriter. You can find me on Twitter, Durham Skywriter, YouTube, Patricia A. Murray. There's always some way to find me. So anyway, let me get started with this show. Now, my guest had technical difficulties, so she is restarting her computer. So what I'm going to do is just say hello to you again. Also, we got motorcycles in the neighborhood. I know you heard that. So anyway, I want to throw a shout out to Nasi, my friend in Chicago, of course, Nasi and Dede, and her brother, Nivu, who's in Brazil. Oi, Nivu, he's watching, he's learning English. And I don't know if he's going to be able to visit our beautiful country, but we'll see. Hopefully one of these days when COVID, so we can go back and forth. So I do hope that my guest can join me soon. I'm going to tell you what her name is. Her name is Yalanda Lattimore. And if you're into live streaming, you've probably already met her, or at least you're aware of her. She's known as Dryer Buzz. And I need to ask her how she came up with that name, because I have no idea why anyone would call themselves Dryer Buzz. It's a cool name that you cannot forget. Maybe that's why, but we will find out. Hopefully she can join me really soon. Like I said, she's restarting her computer. There were some like technical glitches. So she is a soap maker. And what I'm going to do, I was going to do this in her presence, but since she's still restarting her computer, I'll do it now. So check this out. I actually won some soap from her while watching Mediascope, and that's a show that comes on Wednesdays. It's run by Tachi, Dr. Chetachi Egwu, and MC Curtis from Chicago. And Dr. Tachi is actually, I think she's from New York. Her folks are from Nigeria. She's from New York, and she lives in Florida. But anyway, she has this show called Mediascope. It's all about pop culture, social media, tech, that sort of thing. So anyway, she had like this little contest, and I won. So this smells so heavenly. So this is the soap that Dryer Buzz, Yalanda, she's here. She made it. Okay, so I think she's still adjusting. Let me just continue, and then she's going to get in place. So let me just show you. It smells so good. I think this is lavender. Oh, this is so good. So check out the packaging. Check that out. Shop Dryer Buzz. Handmade. This is not like multi-level marketing where you get something from somebody else. And she made this in her own home-based maker factory shop thing place. So we're going to meet her right now because she is here. I'm going to put this over on the other side. I'm knocking things over. This is a casual show, as you can notice. So let's bring on Yalanda Lattimore, also known as Dryer Buzz. Let's get this show started. Hey, it's time for TV Skywriter. Yalanda, you made it back. How are you?
I made it back. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I was showing the folks, and this was my grand unveiling because I have had this package from you for weeks now, and I've been dying to open it, but I wanted to wait and open it on the air. It's beautiful. I wish people could smell it. It's just
I know,
heavenly.
right?
Wow. So you are in Georgia.
I am
So
in
you are
Georgia, born and raised Atlanta, but I live right outside of Atlanta now. So, yes.
awesome. Awesome. So I am curious, well, first, because I don't want to forget, why do you call yourself Dryer Buzz? That's a cool name, but I can't figure
Well,
it out.
we went through that whole era where everybody had to be up or become a brand, right?
Hmm.
And I started out blogging, and so I needed a name for the blog. And
Okay.
people are always amazed at this story, but it really became popular in the hair salons. So when women were under the dryer, They would read a publication that I had, and I woke up one day in the middle of the morning, and I sat up and almost I heard a whisper in my ear, "Dryer buzz," and that I
Oh, wow.
ran to try and get the .com, and it was my daughter's birthday, so I
Mhm.
couldn't get on the computer because I promised not to be on the computer. So the very next day, I got the .com, dryerbuzz.com, and that's what became everything that I did in community, publishing, writing, blogging, everything became Dryer Buzz. And I've been
It's
Dryer
so
Buzz now for next year will actually specifically be 20 years since I registered that domain.
20 years.
20 years as Dryer Buzz.
Okay, but does that mean you've been live streaming and doing the social media thing for 20 years? In
For
which
20
case
years. Actually, yeah, I was live
you are
streaming
way ahead
then.
of us.
I started live streaming probably about late 97, 98. First platform was
Wow.
TikTok, I believe. That was the first one. We went from chat rooms to live audio, video. Yeah, yeah,
Unbelievable. Because I first heard your name on probably Periscope.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, well, how
Periscope.
about
I
that?
remember going live on Periscope because we went from audio, video, and when Twitter came along, we went back to text, right? Like texting and
Okay,
chat, right? And then we finally bounced back when they acquired Periscope. Periscope and Meerkat came out at the same time.
they did.
And
Hmm.
I was just overwhelmed because it was the first mobile. See, a lot of people don't we don't separate, the mobile generation from the desktop generation, right? Because
Okay.
before Periscope and all that, we were all walking. Those of us who live stream were walking around with laptops.
So you were on what was it called? What's the first one called?
Ustream, live
Yeah.
stream, everything. I was on everything. I was
So
on
you've
everything.
been through
If it
all
was
that.
live, I was on it.
Amazing. I had no idea. And I
Oh
do
yeah.
want to throw another hello, another shout out. Uh, Nivio Rosa, he's Nessie's brother in Brazil watching.
Awesome.
He's saying, hello, I am here. Oi, Nivio. All right. Cool. Okay. So let's talk soap. Some people make clothes, some people make handmade paper, some people make toys like myself. You make soap. How did that come about?
Well, you know what? Something amazing happened in our world, right?
Mhm.
Particular, we can say in our country, but in our world, when the pandemic happened and we had to shut down, the entire world turned to what I call, well, what we are. It's makers. If you knew how to make something, you had to revert to that instantly, right? You had to find
Mhm.
something that you
Need
could
to do
do
something.
with your hands. You had
Mhm.
time. Not only did you have time, we had a demand for everything that could be made. And I remember when everything shut down and they declared who were the essential workers and which stores should be open and not, of course, America didn't do any of this right, in my opinion. But I remember all the craft stores were the only ones that had like lines around the block because
Mhm.
we were told we had to wear a mask everywhere. But guess what? You couldn't buy a mask, right? You couldn't buy hand
Oh yeah.
sanitizer, any of that stuff. No,
Right.
everything was running out, right? Because the channels of distribution shut down.
Mhm.
And I saw all of these just makers jump into action and they were literally saving lives with what could be made. People were making food, and it's restaurants shut down. So if you didn't know how to cook, you still had to eat. So
Mhm.
everybody turned to makers. And for the
Interesting. Yeah.
first time in our generation, those skills were very valuable and very important again. And I
Mhm.
tapped into something I didn't know I had. I've been trying to learn how to make soap for a couple of years, and there was a virtual conference that happened just in April. We shut down in March, and in
Yeah.
April there was a conference. They asked me to speak about not even live streaming, but about podcasting to soap makers. And I went on to speak. And in that I was a speaker, I got to attend all the sessions. And
Mhm.
when I attended all the different sessions, I was like, "Oh, that now this makes sense, and that makes sense." And met some wonderful people, and they coached me through the process of making my first soap, and which I still have to this day. That first.
Wow. So Now, I don't know about you, but when it comes to me,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it takes me a few tries to get the hang of something. So what about you? Did you the first
But now
batch
keep
was
in
perfect?
mind, this is a chemical type process. So I did have one of those moments like, oh no, what's going on? But again, like I said, I didn't start it like, oh, let me go watch a YouTube, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. YouTube University is amazing. I
Oh,
was just blessed
absolutely.
with being able to go live with about 6 or 7 of 14 who said, hey, let me, let's watch you do this. And so I couldn't do anything but get it right. We're in a time where you can't do anything but get it right. You only get it wrong because
Mm.
you're stubborn, right? I'm like, I got these people at my disposal. Let me use them. And
Mhm.
so I made my first. The first one was a go big and go home. I'm going to try it all, throw it all in. And it turned
Mhm.
out okay. And now let's
Okay.
scale it back. Let's scale it back to let's get some of the basics and some of the beginning, and let's not
Right.
waste money,
Right.
invest time. And I consistently tried it, and I set a game plan. And I got into it not as a hobby. It's like this was supposed to save my 2020, and
Wow.
I
So
said,
you were
okay, I
serious. This
want to
was
start.
not just for fun.
No, this was not for fun at all. Not at all. This was like, hey, we need something going here. And
Gotcha.
I made my first soap in April of what? God, this time has gone so fast. 2020.
2020.
And
Mhm.
I already had an online store, Chris Dry Buzz, and all of that, and a following. I sold
Oh,
my first soap 30 to 40 days later. We were coming up on Mother's Day.
okay.
And then Father's Day, had a big sale, a big launching during Father's Day, which is interesting because here I am concentrating on men now.
Mhm. Well, men like
I
to
did
be
my
clean
first,
too.
say it
I
again.
said men like to be clean too.
Oh, honey, more so. It's amazing. They're an easy sale. I put it that way. They're an easy sale,
Mhm.
and so I'm really excited about doing that. But I mean, I got into it and I got consistent with it. When you can turn out, the same product again and again and again, you have to get to that part. But just
Mhm.
the fact that people were willing to support the first soap that rolled off the shelf to now,
Right.
and still
Right.
have that same vigor and same excitement for it. It's amazing. Someone asked me in another interview if I was committed to this because it did start in the pandemic. Yeah, I'm committed.
Mhm.
I'm definitely committed. Even if
Well,
I don't do
you.
it, if you saw with the label, my face is on the label, so it's gonna be a
Oh
while.
yeah, absolutely. Let me show you again, folks. It's beautifully packaged. It's your
Right. So
face.
all I have to do now is I just have to,
Mm.
work on what I work on and move out the way and let it grow. So yeah, I'm excited about this
So,
thing.
so how many different? I almost said flavors. What's the
I know
scents
everybody
or
wants their flavors. It's
uh,
fragrances. Um,
fragrances do you have?
I spent part of this year trying to scale it back because in the learning of the process, first of all you have to choose a process. There are three different, probably a couple different processes. What most people know is cold process or hot process. I chose cold process, meaning that
Okay.
I don't make it on the stove or heat it. Right, I use room temperature ingredients.
Oh, I guess yeah, I guess we're used to seeing it on TV or whatever being
Exactly.
heated up.
So you choose a process,
Yeah.
and then you choose your signature colors, fragrances, or
Mm-hmm.
you simply go with what sells, right? If you're
Okay.
selling. And I went with I ended. I think at one time we probably had about 30 different variety. Yeah,
30.
and I was like, okay, it's
Are
time to
there
scale
30
back.
different fragrances in the world?
Right. But when you think about, you have seasonal, you got holidays, you got
Oh yeah.
occasions,
Christmas tree. Yeah.
yeah, it could get out there. So right now I'm
Mm.
trying to scale it back to 15, five
That's
of
a
which
lot.
are my top sellers that I have all the time.
What are the
Five
top
seasonal.
sellers?
Say again.
What
I'm
what
gonna
what
read
are
this
the
from
top
my
sellers?
just a little bit, y'all,
Yeah, let's turn it up. Yeah.
so I can hear you a little bit better. Okay. Now what
Okay.
did you say?
What are the top 5 sellers, if you don't mind telling us?
Well, number one, people, because it's handmade, everybody wants something that is basically upcycling, right? Meaning it's made for something else, but you're actually upcycling it. So my top seller, number one, is always Gold Bar. It's the turmeric and ginger, right? Because people will resonate with that. You know,
Ooh,
they know
ginger.
that it's an item that's in the home already. Because when you think about soap, this is something every household used to make their own soap. You could, we come through a history where you couldn't run to the store and get everything.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is
Makes
why
sense.
you saw all that oil being reserved in the household. You know, all, everything cooked with oil. Grandma, that generation would save everything
Mhm.
because they would upcycle everything, and that's because everything had a second life. You know, everything had a
Okay.
second life, which is why when we talk about going green and recycling and all that, you're like, we're a generation we recycled everything. So turmeric and ginger is number one. What is another one? Oatmeal, right?
Oh,
These are
right.
two like they come out of the kitchen, upcycling. So those
Nice.
two are I have to have that on hand every day, all day. And believe it or not, the what started with the men is I gave this one a lime scent, and lime is a very masculine scent, and it's
Okay.
in a lot of men's colognes and aftershaves, like the bottom note, base note of that. And so when they smell this, they go, "Oh yeah." And so this one, and because men took over this one, I said, let
Hmm.
me make one for ladies, and so I made a raspberry turmeric for the ladies. So then we kind of
Ooh.
got a his and hers, but getting to know what people wanted. Because here's the thing: when you start something, you start it
Hmm.
because it's your passion, and you
Right.
love it. You like the process of it. But then it's like you have to give people what they want. You have to really listen. You have to read. I always say, and I tell everybody, read the room. Absolutely
Exactly.
read the if we're beyond the era of getting it wrong, right? Read the room. People will tell you what they want. Say for instance, this is a big bar, right? That's a
Hmm.
big bar, and it's a commitment. Like this, I'm going to bathe with this every day. And when I started doing pop-ups, I started with the farmers market, and I realized reading the room is that people like to stack. They really love to stack the soaps. And I said,
Oh,
well, it's a commitment, perhaps a smaller bar. And so when we started going to the pop ups, we started doing these smaller bars, which are half the size.
hmm,
And people come up and they say, okay, rather than going home with one bar,
hmm.
they now go home with stacks like that. And their shower looks like mine with
Cool.
all these different, but and
And
that
plus,
opens a level of service that I could provide.
yeah, and then they get to try different fragrances.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to listen for what people wanted. And so now, they get to just they go with it. And I love it every time when I see them like, give me one, give me this, give me that. This one is one of my favorites. It's chocolate.
Chocolate.
It's chocolate.
Chocolate
It
soap?
literally is chocolate. It's chocolate
Wish I
soap.
could smell
It's
that.
made with real Hershey's chocolate. And it has chocolate. It's let's see, mocha powder, Hershey powder,
Mm,
and then
mm.
it has just a real chocolate indulgence of a fragrance. And this is my favorite to shower with. End of the day, hot shower. Get in there and just lather up with it, and
Chocolate.
it's like just chocolate all throughout your bathroom. Oh my God, it's
I'm,
amazing.
I'm getting that next.
Yeah, I put this one actually in a gift box, and I'll show you. Let me tell you what really set it off. This is what really set it off when we offer the gift boxes. So now when you go to the site, you basically build a box. So if people get 3 bars, then they get
Hmm.
the gift box, a nice craft gift box. And we
Nice.
did one of those of chocolate for the holidays, like all occasion gifts. They can
Hmm.
get 3 bars of chocolate, and it's insane. And I had somebody come by the market the other day and said, somebody gave me chocolate soap, and I think they got it from you. And I was just like, yes. I was so
Well, where else
excited.
would they get it?
Right. I was so excited. So, but it's coming up with different ones. I think I'm right there. I think I can stop at this point,
Hmm.
but then I can't.
Well, well, there's two things I want to bring up. The
Hmm.
first thing is people can see that if you're
Yeah.
clever, hardworking, and you got some savvy, you can start your own business in your house and be successful. A lot of
Yes.
people want to do that, and you're doing it. And
Well,
that's why I wanted you to come on the show because you are really doing. And another thing I wanted to point out, folks, if
mhm.
you're on TikTok, you've probably seen Dryer Buzz. You are killing it on TikTok. So
Man,
how are you doing that?
how am I doing it? I
Yeah.
wish I knew. I really wish I knew. I'll tell you, being consistent, number one. I'm going to
Mhm.
tell you where I am. Let me give you the little backstory of where I am. I'm an empty nester. I was a caregiver. I took care of my mom, and I went into the kitchen after my mom's passing just to kind of heal from that. And then somewhat of a caregiver for my dad. He took care of himself pretty well.
Mhm.
But when I went into the kitchen, I was going to go the route. I was actually going to develop. I was developing a lemonade line, and then of course when the pandemic did hit, crops and the food chain was destroyed. And people don't realize that people don't realize how close we were to be without food in that time because food was destroyed because of
Whoa.
how what our channels are right now. We need to pay real particular attention to what our channels are as far as how we get our food. And remember, I said we had to turn to makers, we had to turn to growers, right? That's why I'm at a farmer's market. I am now at a farmer's market every Tuesday, not with the lemonade, but with
Mm.
soap, right? So when I went into the kitchen and I was getting ready to lunch the lemonade and then I started making the soap, I'm sitting right now in one of my kids' bedrooms. I used to walk by
Mm.
that empty nester room and I get so down and depressed. And the kid was like, "I'm not coming back, mom. I'm gone. You can do
Oh,
something in that
it's a
room." So
room.
I'm like, I could turn it into an office. I could turn it into this, that, and the other. And I still had the bed and everything in here. But I brought in when I started doing the soap. I didn't want to do it in the kitchen, so I brought in
Mhm.
a little table and chair and some supplies. I'll show you guys some supplies. This is a soap business right here. Let me tell y'all, a bucket.
Wow.
Okay, this is a soap business. Um, a strainer, a blender, and just a couple of little gadgets. Right. This is
That's
all.
it?
Literally, this is all it takes. This and this right here. Okay, now you'll get to this part.
Ooh.
This is where I am now. But I literally started with 1/4 of this, right? Which would make like
Whoa.
10 bars. The first when you first start out, you make about 10 bars. That I'm
Mhm.
making about 40. That'll make about 40 bars. Okay.
Ooh.
But this is how it started. So I came into this room with this, right? And then I started needing more and more room. And so
Mhm.
my the kid was like, "Hey mom, gotta let it go." So I literally put the bedroom set that I have in here on let go. And
Mm.
somebody literally rolled up and rolled it out of here, right? And then I was standing here in this empty room, and
That's
I
your
bought
part.
see this shelf system behind me. I bought one
Okay.
set, and I was literally in here with some items and a shelf. And I
Mhm.
literally saw that video today, and I had a little it's still sitting over there, a little butcher's block that I
Mhm.
worked on, and then I started buying more and more and more and more stuff, and it started growing. But that's literally how it started. And not only that, I didn't have to risk my finances, because now,
Good. Good.
people will pre-order, pre-buy, pre-sale, and all of that.
Nice.
So the risk is minimized. If anybody's out there thinking on getting started, you can literally put the product out there and say, "Hey, I'm not even going to deliver." There are people who are putting product out there saying they're not even delivering it in 2023. Okay.
Mm.
But people will buy now and wait patiently wait because that's where we are. That's where we are now
And
after
plus, it's
this
the
thing.
excitement. It's the
Exactly.
excitement because a lot of us do all of our business online. I pay all my bills online. I don't get much mail now. A lot of us
Mhm.
don't get mail at all.
Right,
And then
right.
you have a package coming to your house with, and then you open it and you're almost just bombarded by these lovely fragrances. I mean, it's very exciting. I mean, when I
It is
buy soap, I might not ever buy soap again. But when I have brought soap back from Dollar Tree, it's not nearly as exciting opening the
right, right.
box.
That's why I
Not at
said
all.
it's packaging, and this is why I tell people. I said, there was something once I put the ribbon on the box,
Hmm.
like I go shopping now for ribbon. It's crazy. But it's the packaging. And how I discovered the packaging was when I started shipping and people, of course, doing the unboxing. I'm like, oh man, I like for that to be a little bit of a nicer experience for them. And so
Hmm.
we started searching for, because I could send you this box for the same price as an envelope or something like that. So
Sure.
you can definitely increase it. Of course, the way shipping is right now, and it's getting ready to go up for the holiday season. But why
Okay.
not give people an amazing experience? Because that's what they're buying. You're buying bath and shower soap, right? You're gonna bathe. We know that, right? But
Yeah. So you measured the soap and then got custom boxes or what?
it's not even, these are not even, I'm actually still waiting on some custom boxes that we ordered, but this is just standard craft box, and again, remember I said, the craft, the only thing that was really thriving right in this pandemic was crafts, right? And so
Mm.
I went and I got a ribbon and twine, and I handmade hand printed my thank you cards. I handwrite each thank you card, because that's something I've had people will order 50 bars, but they'll call me all excited about the sample that I put in there, right?
How cute.
It's,
Like,
but that's
always give them a little something extra.
always and even if they order one bar, I will still put in a sample, because
Yes.
I can tell, and you know that now. It's like, oh, they were trying to decide on a bar, they want to support, so they just buy a bar, and they just grab the bar, and I look at the bar that they bought, and it tells
Mhm.
me something about them. If they went with the turmeric, then I know. Oh, they like the natural stuff. So I'll send them a sample of the oatmeal, and most of them would say, I was thinking about that one. And I can tell when they buy. If they buy three, I'm like, oh, that's an interesting three that they bought. I bet they wanted this one also. So I'll always throw in something. This one, I'll tell you, is my most surprising bar. And you talk about in TikTok. I went live on TikTok and I said, hey, what would y'all like? And they said, oh, something this color and that color, and throwing this and throwing that. And as far as the fragrance, now to me, this is a very odd fragrance because it literally smells like laundry. But then I'm like, wait a
Mm.
minute, they go to great lengths to put fragrance in the different fragrances in the laundry detergents and the
Yeah.
Febrezes, all that stuff. And I was like, man, I should put it in the soap. When I tell you, I cannot keep this bar on the
Smart.
table. When I go to the market, it's flying off the table, and
Mhm.
everybody loves it. And I'm still just shocked that people want it, but it gives you that springtime, and
Yeah,
it,
because you
it does.
want to you want to smell super fresh
That's what we call this
more
one.
than
So
one way. Yes. And I need to say hello to the Information Man show. I'm surprised to, I mean, happy to see him here because I know who that is on YouTube. How about that?
shout
Yeah.
out, how about YouTube? They can follow up. We actually
How
do
about that?
YouTube videos, because what we have found is that people love to, they love the whole making process, but they love the ASMR, of course. So
Wait,
each time,
ASMR. What is that?
yeah, that's just the whole sensory. People love the sounds. So
Okay.
when I get ready to pour it in the mold, I will get it absolutely quiet, and I will pour the soap, and I would make that a video. And that's how you asked about how we rock in TikTok. And
Okay.
also cutting the soap. When I cut
I
the
seen
bars,
that. Mhm. I
will
love
make the
that.
video of that process as well. So,
I love
so
that
we show
part.
the whole process. And when I'm packaging the soap, like people when they
Mhm.
order, they'll tell me what their order number is. And so now when I'm actually packaging orders, we go live for that's TikTok as well as YouTube and so forth. People, I think people want to see the entire process. They want
Mhm.
to be part of the process, and that's really where most of the sales come from.
And the only thing missing is the wonderful fragrance. That's the only
Like, can
thing
you
missing.
imagine the day we get fragrance through this video? It's like this is what these devices need to work on. Because I mean, think about it. I came out of the kitchen, which was one sensory, and then into the soap room, which is another sensory. And we're actually going back into the kitchen now because I've been cooking more and more.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's
I'm
just.
actually learning how to cook.
Are you
And
really?
I'm having a great time. I have an air fryer now.
Oh
I
yeah.
have
Oh yeah.
a pressure cooker. I am cooking like nobody's
I'm
business.
afraid of pressure cooker. I will not get a pressure cooker. But they said that it said you survived 20. You survived the pandemic if you bought an air fryer.
Well, actually, I mean, let's see, I'm on my like third year really learning how to cook well.
Wow. For
Because I mean, I'm
me,
really good at heating up. Yeah, I
yeah.
grew up heating things up. And with all due respect to my late mom,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I know. We
yeah,
we're both
she
right there.
wasn't. I let's just say I grew up on more fast food than homemade food. Not all not all of us are good cooks. That's okay. She was a good mom, not a good
Right.
cook. I'm just saying. But now that I'm learning how to cook, it's very exciting. And I want to say hello to Sheila Huggins because she's wondering why I'm on in the evening. So I have two shows. I have a daily show called Bull City Hangout, which is for Durhamites, telling people what's happening today in Durham, North Carolina. And then TV Skywriter is my interview show. Actually, I've been doing an interview show since, oh my God, since the 90s on radio when I started in Chicago. So this is like a continuation of my interview show that I did in Chicago on WNCU here in Durham. So now I'm doing my show. It was Radio Skywriter, obviously, on
Mhm.
WNCU. Now that I'm online, it's TV Skywriter instead of Radio Skywriter.
Wow.
But yeah, so if anybody knows anyone interesting from around the world who wants to be interviewed, I would love to interview. I've interviewed people in Afghanistan,
Hmm.
Kenya,
Wow.
Canada, England. Yeah. So we're reaching people from around the world, and you certainly are. Like I said, you are smashing it on TikTok.
I mean, if you're going to be on the internet, I mean, I was known around the world pretty much before Atlanta because that's the world that we connected to. When we
Mhm,
came online. You connected, to the diaspora.
mhm.
I had fans because one I was part of one of the first internet radio shows, and this was
That's right.
back during the Desert Storm and all of that. And
You've
just
really,
had,
wow,
oh my
you've
God,
really been out
we
there.
had fans in UK and Australia, and what they were so fascinated is they were fascinated by the fact that I was in Atlanta because during that time everybody was coming to Atlanta for one reason or another, and so whenever I would say I'm live from Atlanta, I had to answer all these questions about the city, and that's
Mhm.
kind of how I ended up blogging about Atlanta because
Interesting.
if people went online and they were early online, they would end up on Dryer Buzz because that's what we talked about.
Mhm.
Man, it's such a history.
Yeah.
There,
Yeah,
I
we
and I
lost
all that stuff.
yeah, we lost a lot of people to Atlanta. Growing up in Chicago, there were
Mhm.
really ambitious Black people in Chicago. I grew up what they called so-called halfway middle class or whatever. But anyway, there were so many people in the community who wanted to be successful. And
Yeah,
Chicago isn't always the most welcoming city. It's a very
that's right.
ethnic city. It's very volatile in many ways. And I remember a lot of the smart kids or young adults who were a little bit older than myself and my sister. I remember a bunch of them moved to Atlanta and a bunch moved to
Yeah,
DC.
it was like a reversal of people
It was
that went north.
amazing how many
Yes.
people we lost. Yeah. I
Yeah.
shouldn't say lost. I'm sure they're out there somewhere being successful.
Well, I mean, you think about the talent, and just people having to move to different parts of the country. I mean, we
Hmm.
know that to be a thing because, and now not so much. I mean, you can go anywhere, but it was a different. If you were in one place, it was an entirely different culture.
Hmm.
And you could
Hmm.
tell. Like today, it's hard to kind of tell where people are from because we all consume same media now, being social,
Hmm.
the internet and social media. So it's that a lot of our identifiers are disappearing. You know,
Yeah, I
you
noticed
don't.
accents are disappearing too.
Yeah, instead of being from Atlanta, oh, you're a TikToker or you're a Facebooker, and all the
Mhm.
like those are our demographics now and our identifiers. And luckily, we do have some new identifiers. We need some new
Yeah.
identifiers in this world, So, and I'm
So,
glad people are experiencing that.
so speaking of global reach, are you fulfilling orders from around the world?
I actually turned it off. Of course, with experiencing it through the pandemic. Um, One, it's crazy expensive. I could not. I just really could not ship a couple of bars, to people, and people are
Oh,
willing to. But I'm like, but there's soap making is such an amazing community. I love making a referral, and I get asked, all the time, will you ship here, will you ship there, and I get told, oh, I got all the way to the process, and you don't ship to me, and I'll say, hey,
oh,
listen, you got a great soap maker, use them and have different alliances and things like that. Just because it's so expensive, it didn't make sense to me. I would love to. However,
mhm,
I have enough trouble trying to track packages going right here in the United States than to try to deal with customs and then all the things that's
mhm.
going on with COVID and all those kinds of things. No, we won't do it. Not yet. No. Mm-mm.
So, are
It's
you
a lot.
so busy that you ship out every week or every other day or every
I,
day or what?
I ship every week. I ship every week. And
Mhm,
I try to keep it down to 1 to 2 days. But
mhm.
again, we're getting ready to head into the holiday season. Last year for the holiday season, we added pickup, and for Valentine's Day, we actually added delivery. So we have a number of options that we can do. Of course, I'm at the farmers market now every week on
Nice.
Tuesdays, and I'm looking for possibly a weekend event. Although I hate to give up my weekends. So yes, we are just that
Mhm.
busy thanks to again the platforms. We do very well online and then of course in the marketplace. So
Okay.
loving it.
So what would you tell someone who wants to maybe not start exactly what you're doing with soap making, but anyone who wants to make something, even if it is soap, somebody who wants to make or create
Um,
something, how do they really get out there? Because you have the advantage of you said you've been live streaming for 20 years, but what about someone who's really just starting out? What would you tell them to do first?
First thing that get over the fear of it. Stop with the
Mm,
self talk. Stop thinking that people who can't afford it, they won't buy it, they won't like it. No, somebody is waiting for it. Each one of these soaps has its specific customer, and people that I had no idea. I remember when orders started coming in and I didn't recognize the name. Like this
mm,
is a stranger. They're buying this stuff, right?
mm,
It is an amazing feeling when that order comes in. Again,
mhm,
like I said, don't overthink it. Plan it out. You could do pre-sales. Don't risk your life savings. You don't have to do any of that
pre-sales.
anymore. Do it, just figure out what it is you're going to promise. Think about what's your promise. In this, it's sushi soap, right? But it's my promise. It's my promise that I'm going to use the best ingredients. It's my promise that I'm going to pull your order. I'm going to ship you your product, right? And living up to that promise again and again and again, order after order, right? It
Mhm,
starts with that first order. And I remember to this day getting that first ding or that first order coming
mhm,
through, and just put the promise out there. Put the promise out there that you're going to deliver and
mhm,
and let people buy. Because if you make something or if you have a talent or a skill, there's probably people already around you saying they wish you just go ahead and do it. They want to support and they keep asking, how do I support you? And you keep
mhm,
saying, I'm gonna do it one day, and one day, no, that day is here. That day is now. There are no barriers. There's no more reason to wait.
mhm.
And I know most people don't do it because let me tell you, I wrote the book on it, and I'm gonna do another plug here. I wrote the book on helping people get to that. It's called 27 Answers to Create Buzz, right? And most people
Love
who
it.
come to me with the book when I do the book signings, they're so afraid of what somebody's going to think or say, or they've been
Really?
so down. And it's like, no, after 2020 was truly a hindsight year. After
Mhm,
2020, Everybody gets it. Everybody understands talent. They understand value. They'll pay the price. They'll pay
Mhm.
double the price, people. Okay.
Ooh,
They just
okay.
want to support. They want to see people happy, you
Wow.
know?
And you're absolutely right because here in Durham, there is a focus, there's always been a focus on supporting local businesses. You know,
Hmm.
I mean, Durham is really great for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure across the country, people are feeling the same way. Who are our local craftspeople? Oh,
Right,
let me ask you
right.
this. Now, today in Durham, with it being Sunday, the makers, there's a
Mm.
makers group, MAKRS. And
Hmm.
every second, let's see, I think it's once a month. I can't remember. Anyway, it's in the Durham Skywriter, but they go to Durham Central Park. There's like
Hmm.
a bunch of, they set up tables
Hmm.
and they show people what they do and they sell their wares. It's like, it's like a organization or club or something. Do you belong to anything like that
Yeah, like I said, I joined the
besides the
farm.
farmers market?
And of course, soap makers, different soap makers groups and local groups. We're hoping to get back out to more local groups. Atlanta never really kind of fully shut down, but more and
Mhm.
more events are coming back. There's one that's called Sunday Fun Day. I'm hoping to
Oh,
jump in with them. I don't know how long they're going to continue into the fall. Fall festivals are coming, but it's just an absolute awesome community. So, but listen,
mhm.
I think you and I have one more thing in common. I was looking at your page. Did you go? It has Talladega on there.
Yeah, I went to Talladega College.
I did too. I started
You're a
out. I
deacon.
started
Oh
out at
my
Talladega.
God. Class of 78. Woot. How about you? No
I went
way.
84. I was there
Yeah.
84, 85. Yes, I
That's
was.
where my parents met. They also attended Talladega way back in the
Wow.
early 19,
Mhm.
well, late 40s, early 50s.
Wow.
Yeah. And in fact, my family started in Talladega. I still have family there.
And in such a small community, I got so much value. I got
Unbelievable.
so much value out of there. I didn't go back.
Yeah, I
I
love
got
me some
I
Dega.
took
That's a,
because
and I
when
have
I
to
went, the
go ahead.
internet was the internet was coming, and it was like, and it hadn't reached the college level yet. And I came home and told my mom, I was like, look, I don't want to do technology. I'm not technology per se, but I knew it was coming, and so I was like, I'm not going to get it there, but not right now.
Mhm.
And so I went the tech route after that. But yeah, it was amazing, amazing community. So, and the history of the school,
It's
they
wonderful.
loved it. I loved it. So,
And actually, Talladega and schools like Talladega, it's an
hmm.
HBCU. It's super, super small. I don't know how many kids are going there now, but when I was there were only 500 kids. It was a
Oh,
great school for people who are shy or
mm-hmm.
people who, because a lot of, I don't want to, I know we're talking about Talladega now. I'm gonna go ahead and say it, but there are a lot of schools, a lot of colleges where, let me put it this way, kids come from high school. Sometimes they don't know what college is all about.
Right.
And
Have
they
no clue.
say 9 out of 10 young black men drop out of college. They don't finish.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
don't they're not aware of what it's really about.
Right.
What I like
Right.
about Talladega, they take you where you are and they will bring you up to
Hmm.
the college level. So
Hmm.
a lot of kids, especially inner city kids, I'm from the south side of Chicago, you might have graduated from high school, but still not have exactly what's needed
So
to,
you went there from Chicago?
yeah. Mhm.
I know that had to be a shocker, though, right?
It was.
Like Alabama, though, right?
Here's the thing. Coming from Chicago, a lot of the Chicago and the New York kids
Hmm.
didn't stay. They
Hmm.
took one look and they're like, oh my God. I mean, because you would come out of the art building and there would be a cow standing outside. And I would be, what is that?
I
They said, that's a
know.
cow. Oh my God. And,
He had to
there
eat
were
in right. The
goats
entrance to
and
the school
stuff.
was a cotton gin.
Say it again.
I said, remember at the entrance going to the school was a cotton gin, right?
Yeah.
It was a
I
cotton
mean,
gin. chicken plant.
It's
It was
crazy.
Alabama.
But I
So that's
totally enjoyed it. I think I was able to adjust because I knew my family was from there.
hmm
So I couldn't be all highfalutin like, what's this? Country stuff. This is my homeland, more or
yeah,
less, you know.
yeah,
And plus my parents met there and yeah.
yeah.
Again, it's a great, and there are other small HBCUs. They will take you where you are and bring you up to college
hmm
level, and then you continue on
Right.
your merry way. But I love rural Alabama. As a as a big city girl, I was fascinated by animals and
Oh
dirt
yeah.
roads and
That's why I live in Douglas. That's why I live in Douglasville. I mean, I'm 30 minutes outside of Atlanta, but I'm also 30 minutes. I can go 30 minutes to Atlanta or 30 minutes to Alabama. And I'm almost
oh,
gonna have to go because it's growing out here. Everything's growing up now. Every piece of land is now again being flattened and things are built,
mhm.
construction is happening right next to me. So I'll probably within a year I'll probably go find where'd all the animals go because you do want to live around it. Like I love the darkness at night. I don't want to be around all the artificial lighting. I want to see the sky.
Oh,
I want to see the stars.
that's what killed me about Talladega.
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
never seen real darkness before because even in Chicago, even the alleyways are lit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And when
I
I walked around at night in rural
absolutely,
Alabama, it
yeah.
scared me
Really?
because it was so dark out.
Oh yeah. I have to see
Oh,
the close.
I had
You
never seen total
believe it or
blackness
not, you can
before.
see better in the darkness than honey with that light. I'm telling you. You got to get away from artificial light. You got to get out into the darkness. You got to see the stars because that's when you realize we live in a universe
Well,
and
even
we
the
don't.
stars scared me. The stars scared me too because I'd never seen them that bright. Because then,
Oh wow.
yeah, because the
Oh
sky
wow.
was so big,
It was. hmm hmm
and it was I got used to it and I grew to love it. But at
Yeah.
first, it was very scary to be in pitch blackness and
Oh
see
wow.
starlight and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you made it. You made it through. Look at you now. And I saw that on your bio. I said I have to mention that because that's just an
Talladega
amazing
crimson and blue.
start in my life. You know, and just keep it going. But I do have to run. Um,
Thank you. Thank you so much
you
for
are
being on the show.
amazing. Watching some of your previous interviews, I said this is amazing. So keep up
Well,
the
thank you.
great.
I enjoyed it.
I have
Thank
to
you.
mention one more thing though, if I
Sure.
can. Um, we talked about TikTok, we talked about YouTube and some of the other platforms. Everybody needs to get on Clubhouse, and they need to get on Clubhouse in the morning after we take this. Let me tell you,
Oh,
because I am facilitating an amazing summit this week. It's called Feed Your Dreams. And it's a summit. It's a network of amazing women that have joined me over there. I host a room there on Tuesday, from Tuesday through Saturday, and
I'm
we've
write this
been there.
down.
It's another thing that started in the pandemic. And we've been there. We're all coming up on our 1 year anniversary of being on Clubhouse. But we're having 7 themed days. So in various industries, publishing, makers, growers,
Mm,
just everything. We're gonna castellate all of that for 2 hours. Being that we're all kind of entrepreneurs, and we don't say entrepreneurs, we're dreamers. We get together
yes.
each morning for 2 hours and just talk about how to move the needle and what we're doing. And so we're
What
gonna
time?
highlight that. We've got over 20 presenters going to talk about in their own voice what happened. Very much like the interview you did with me tonight. I've got
Mm,
20 individuals that are going to do this very same thing each day this week, from Monday all the way to Sunday. And so we've
nice.
got theme days, mornings on Clubhouse at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 Central.
Okay.
Don't miss any of you. If anybody has not joined Clubhouse as a platform, you can listen, you can speak. It's an audio platform. It's absolutely amazing, and we're going to provide some great storytelling of how people did just what I did,
I
and
will
still doing
definitely
it,
do that.
starting. Yeah.
Okay, I will do that. And thank you. I will definitely check that out. Now back to your book. Can we get that on Amazon or what?
You can get it on Amazon. You can also go to, if you want a signed copy, you can go to Shop Dryer Buzz. I've got some copies that we can sign. But yeah, you can get it on Amazon. You can also get it in an ebook. And then there are some addendums that come with it, because this basically talks about using social media for business, mostly networking. And
Okay.
then are some addendums that I did to it, downloads that you can get specific to industries and platforms and so forth and so on. But definitely
Right.
check it. And if you do, and there's a lot of content that I put out there years ago that's under the hashtag 27 answers, 27 answers, that will take you through a lot of the conversations. People are trying to figure out how to use social media for, but we actually predicted where we are right now, and
Mm.
trying to bring people on. I put this out in 2013, probably 2011. We were trying to get
Wow.
people to use live streaming. We're trying to get people to use, all the social media platforms, and just be better at networking. And people would
Mhm.
ask me, how to do this over and over. And so I started writing articles, and then I took 27 of those articles and put them in this book of just how to do it. This is not the time
Are
to get
you?
it wrong. No reason whatsoever to fail at this time,
Mhm.
because everybody is sharing. Everybody is sharing. So definitely get a copy. Definitely
Are
get a
you
copy.
a born? Are you a born entrepreneur?
I think I was, but most part, I've been running from being an entrepreneur all my life. I've always had these ideas, and I've always given them to others. But honey, when
Mhm.
that hit, I'm like, you need to take your own advice. But yeah, I am a born. My first website was. And somebody go get this because I don't have it anymore. My first
Uh-oh.
website was $20gifts.com, and my living room was filled with things that I was going to put in a gift basket, right?
So
And
cute.
at the same time I was doing the writing, my son at 4 years old came to me. He said, "Mom," he says, because I discovered, the dryer buzz in me. He says, "Mom, I think dryer buzz is it, right? You really love that." And I said, "Really, son?" He said, "Yeah, I think you should stick with that." And I said, "I
Four
think I
years
am."
old.
He says, "Well, can I eat the food in the living room? Because you had all the little cheeses and sausages and all this stuff
Mhm.
for the gift things." I was like, "Yeah." To this day, my son would not eat chocolate because he ate all the chocolate. But yeah,
That is
I
so
am I
funny.
am born not a serial entrepreneur, because I found my sweet spot and I stuck with it, and it has carried me all this time, and I'm still sticking with it. So, and that's Dryer Buzz. And even though we're Dryer Buzz soaps now, and books and
Mhm.
events and all those
Yeah.
different things,
Oh,
luckily I
that's
chose
true.
a brand that scale
Okay.
with me. So,
Right. So let me show your product again.
oh my
Isn't that
God, that
beautiful?
just feels every time I see that.
I just wish you could smell this.
And I tell everybody, honey,
Oh,
put your face on your product.
I just love, yeah. And yeah, it's a nice touch, great packaging. And when I won this on Mediascope on Tachi's
Shout
show,
out and shout out to Dr. Tati.
definitely a shout out to Tachi for sure. I
And
got
you
this in a
on her
very
anniversary.
timely manner. And yeah, so I just want to give her a shout out as well. So I know you got to go, but Yolanda, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was been
Thank
so much
you.
fun.
Thank you. And if anybody has any questions, my inbox is always open. Send me an inbox, not an email. And any questions, and I just love inspiring people. But don't forget, find me on Clubhouse, and we're there every morning. If you're looking for a great network and you're trying to figure this thing out, because we're in this together. We're in this, and we're surviving and we're thriving, together. And
Awesome.
it's all about how we are disseminating and sharing the information, with each other. That's what this is about.
Awesome.
So,
And if you ever want to drop by Bull City Hangout, I do that on
what
weekdays at
does the impact
noon.
is, like my empty nest, I'm doing weekend getaways, and I'm hopping on that train, and heading
Okay.
out. I'm loving it. And got to think about the families. There was a train derailment, so we're worried about, want to send support to families that are experiencing that in this
Wow.
time. But
That's
I am
awesome.
getting, road trip. I'm down for the road trip, honey. I will be
Okay.
definitely following you to see what's going on up your way.
Absolutely. And Bull City Hangout is on the Durham Skywriter Facebook page on
All right.
weekdays at noon,
Mm.
Saturdays at 10 a.m. So you can drop by anytime and say hello. Or if you have come out with a different fragrance or you want to show us a new packaging, just come on, because I think it will inspire people too.
Yes, and that's what
Yeah.
I hope to do. That's why I show so much of the process. Just to show people, everybody can do what they want to do. Don't
Mhm.
let your dream, just let it out there. Put it out there, express it out into the universe, and it'll just line right up.
Right. Don't let it be a dream deferred.
There you
For
go.
sure.
There you
There you go.
go. All
Thank you so
right.
much, Yolanda. You have a
Well,
beautiful day.
thank you too. Bye,
Yeah.
guys.
Take care. That was so awesome. So, if you know someone who would want to be interviewed by me, I would love to do so. I love to interview crafters, authors, entrepreneurs, whoever, anyone who's interesting. They don't have to be Durhamites. They obviously don't have to be North Carolinians. They can be anywhere in the world with an internet connection. So just let me know. I want to say again a big shout out and a thank you to Yalanda Lattimore. I don't think I told you her last name. It's Yalanda Lattimore. You can find her on Facebook and all the other places. Dryer Buzz is the name she goes by and the name of her company. So, with that, you have a beautiful day, beautiful evening. I'll see you real soon. If you're a Durhamite, then I will see you tomorrow at noon Eastern for Bull City Hangout. Ciao for now.